Welcome back everyone. There was a new update today and it is my obligation to tell you what was going on, as well as some extra information that I just so happen to know. My name is Derailious, welcome back to Skyblock News, and let's launch right into it. Starting off today, we're going to be talking about the Supercraft update, which is, well, what was released. It's a new way to craft items for VIP players and above. It lets you craft a lot more items, a lot faster. You can access this Supercrafting feature by opening the recipe page from anywhere it already exists, for example the recipe book, a lot of recipe items, and NPC prompts. There's also the new /recipe command that I went over in the previous video on the subject. It lets you search through any recipe in the game, and here is a Supercrafted Terminator, as you can see. As seen in the screenshot, this Supercraft feature is able to take items from your inventory, ender chests, backpacks, and sacks. You're able to see a breakdown on all these items, like where it's coming from, as well as extra information if you enable the advanced mode. I showed this off as well. Settings, personal, user interface, advanced Supercraft. Here is the advanced view. This works allowing you to craft items in the hundreds at a time, which is pretty cool. For a lot of weapons and unstackable items, you can only do one at a time though. I do think this eventually could be changed, but I think for now it's fine. It's a pretty neat feature. It also comes along with the bonus quick craft options, which I think is really cool. You'll also be able to see everything you're able to quick craft based on what's in your inventory. Showed that off in the previous video as well. Pretty nice stuff. Moving on, we're going to be talking about this lava shell necklace change. This is kind of a quote. It doesn't really actually change anything about the item. It's just for clarity's sake. It sets your health regen, mending, and vitality to 0. More obvious now, which is pretty cool. Its behavior did not actually change. Same thing with the lesser orb of healing. It now specifies that it ignores vitality, meaning it will heal through lava shell necklace. Then again, it is only a lore change. The ruby power scroll now also applies a heal directly, or rather applies a heal instead of directly setting your health, meaning it is now impacted by mending and vitality. Moving on, in terms of bug fixes, there were a few pretty interesting fixes here. Notably, the Cooled Forges perk has been changed from granting triple essence to granting double essence. It was supposed to grant double essence. They fixed the layout of the co-op management menu for 8 or more players. They fixed Byron's Compassion effect from the Gilded Reforge, proccing when swapping weapons, and now only procs on melee hits. They fixed the recipe for the Lava Water Orb, showing vanilla items instead of the real ingredients. They fixed Sweet Flesh dropping outside of the Halloween event. They fixed the spider name and the Venom Shot cast message during Arachne. They fixed up the bizarre main menu layout. Things are a little bit cleaner now. And also they made it so that these items, which are the Lesser Orb of Healing, the Soul Flow Batteries accessory line, the Handy Blood Chalice, and the Pocket Espresso Machine, now actually check if the player can actually use them, which is interesting. I don't really know how badly all of these items needed a requirement, or rather how often people were getting around those requirements in the first place, but maybe it fixes some niche issue, which is fine. There were a couple Shen's auction changes as well. If the number of bidders is lower than the number of upcoming winners for an item, the minimum bid amount is now correctly the amount set in the auction settings rather than the smallest bid. I know that's a lot of words. They also fixed negative bid increases, and they also fixed a bunch of typos, but that's not really super relevant. In terms of something that is relevant for the average player, there was a pretty big test on the Alpha Network earlier today that YouTubers weren't invited to and regular players weren't allowed to join, which leaves just the nerds and admins. It was about 30 people for about 45 minutes, and that is pretty unusual. Now, me and Jade are total freaks, so we decided to do some digging into this, and we came across some pretty obvious proof that this was on 1.8.9, likely not the foraging update. As well, since it only lasted for about 45 minutes, we figured that it'd be very unlikely for it to be the foraging update. You're able to check basic stats of a server, and effectively, we found that it was very likely to be on 1.8. So we got to thinking, well, what updates have been announced, but have not, released yet, and also are not the foraging update? And other than the foraging update, there are things like combat masteries, which I don't really think is ready yet. That seems more like a 1.0 thing. But there is something else. Notably, the big changes to mob health and mob damage that they were talking about for a while. Basically, they wanted to make it so that mobs did a lot less damage to the player, but you would also heal up a lot slower because reasons. They wanted to make the game a little bit more balanced in this regard. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw something like that in the near future. It also makes sense for the relatively short playtest. You want to get some basic information out there. Do things generally feel insane or normal or fun? and that type of stuff is the type of thing you would see for an hour or two of a playtest. I asked around a little bit, there were a couple people saying that this was the case. Then again, I can't really get any further confirmation on that, so this is once again speculation. Aside from it being speculation though, you can be confirmed in the fact that there was a big test on Alpha today. It's not usual to see 30 people online testing something. Last time we saw numbers like that was like pre-Garden, so it's been a bit. I think that's a good sign for big updates to Skyblock in the near future, so keep that in mind. I'll try to get information like this to you whenever possible, and yeah. My name is Derailious, thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and look to the future fellas, because I will see you then.